Three different times, three different places, three different moms, 8 kids, and three bizarre stories. Y'all remember Andrea Yates? Well, in June 2001, Andrea sent her husband off to work just as she did any other day. But on this day, she anticipated the moment he was gone. One thing circling her mind: fill the bathtub. Okay, maybe I should rewind. Andrea Pierre Kennedy, born in 1964, met Russell Yates and they married in 1993. Together, they had 5 children. Andrea suffered from mental health problems and was on and off medications for a number of years. Approximately 2 weeks before June 20th, her psychiatrist took her off Haldol, Haldol. Some experts believe this helped lead to her breakdown, in addition to her 5 children being born. Noah 7, John 5, Paul 3, Luke 2, and Mary, who was 6 months old at the time. After the birth of Luke, Andrea would be diagnosed with postpartum psychosis after yet another breakdown, including the diagnosis she already had. Andrea's condition would improve, and the couple decided to stop medications to conceive who we now know as baby Mary. Andrea's psychiatrist at the time would advise Andrea not to have another baby. It will surely lead to another breakdown. Russell claimed he wasn't aware of this. After discharging the doctor, Andrea claimed she told her husband she didn't want to have sex because she didn't want to hurt her children. She said he reassured her that she was a great mother and she was okay to give birth. They did. Just as doctors had warned Andrea, she had another breakdown. This one, as bad as the last, maybe worse. Under the care of a new physician, Andrea is prescribed the Haldol she's taken previously, but he stopped prescribing the mother the medication and substituted it with higher dosages of other medications, as he thought this was a better outcome for the family. Haldol takes up to 6 days to leave the body fully, and 7 days after Andrea stopped medications, but 7 days before her biggest episode yet, Russell made an announcement. He would leave Andrea home an hour a day alone to encourage the wife's independence. This was against doctor's wishes, but Russell would arrange for his mom to come over an hour after he left for work daily to help Andrea so she's not totally dependent on them. His mom didn't agree with the idea neither, but she obliged. 7 days later, 14 days after her medications had stopped, Andrea saw Russell off to work. She watched him leave. She filled her bathtub with water and locked up the family's dog. Then she carried out the plan she once started before. Andrea graduated from self-mutilation. She found Paul, Luke, and John. One by one, they found themselves in this tub they bathed in daily. But this time they were fighting their mom. This time it wasn't fun as their little lungs kept taking in water until there was no more life in them. This time was the last. Andrea then carried the boys to her bed and placed their bodies there. She found 6-month-old Mary and took her to the same tub her brothers were just in. She drowned baby Mary and left her floating in the bathtub. 7-year-old Noah discovered his baby sister and decided to make a run for it. Andrea caught the frightened 7-year-old and took him to the tub his 6-month-old sister was floating in, and he fought hard to get away from his mother. He just wasn't strong enough. After Andrea drowned all 5 of her children, she repeatedly called 911 for police to come, but wouldn't tell them why. She eventually called her husband, and he came home. At first, Yates would be sentenced to life, but that was overturned, and she was found not guilty by reason of insanity. When his wife first got arrested, Russell had ways to fix not being able to have any more kids with the woman: surrogacy, adopting, and any other way he can think of reciting his religious belief. God's will is to multiply. This would anger family members, his and hers, doctors and lawyers, as 5 children lost was far too many. Noah, John, Paul, Luke, and Mary, all names out the Bible. Gone too soon. Okay, so maybe y'all remember Michelle Blair. No? Well, in 2015, Michelle Blair is a case that shocked many. Michelle had 4 children and took the phrase, "I brought you in this world, I'll take you out," literal. In court, she admitted to her crimes with no remorse. In fact, she made it clear, if given the opportunity, she'd kill her daughter, Stoney, 13, and son, Stephen, 9, again. Michelle Blair, a single mom of 4, who was 35 years old when she was arrested for killing her kids and hiding their bodies. The children was homeschooled, and Blair projected a normal family home front. But on March 24, 2015, Michelle found herself facing eviction. Officers arrived, and the mother was nowhere to be found. In the process of evicting the mom, police would discover a deep freezer in the living room. In that freezer was 2 bodies, Stoney Blair and Stephen Barry. First, we'll briefly mention the allegations the mom made against the children, and then you can hear what this mother did as punishment. As said before, Blair had 4 children in 2012, a 13-year-old, a 9-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 6-year-old. Blair believed the 13 and 9-year-old had sexually abused her youngest child. Stoney even made him drink period blood from her pads. She would come to believe Stoney started with Stephen, and eventually he became an abuser to his younger brother as well. She thought they had mental illnesses, and Michelle claimed she found out Stoney was the beginning of this sick cycle after she had already punished the 9-year-old. Blair's 2 surviving children never made any allegations of sexual abuse, but they did detail the abuse they endured and watched their siblings endure at the hands of their mom. Blair said because she knew the pair abused the youngest, she would ask him questions like, "Do you want me to punch them?" If he said yeah, she would. She would use things like hot irons, extension cords, and wood paddles. For 2 weeks, Blair beat Stephen. She strangled him, put him in scalding hot water until his feet blistered, and placed plastic bags over his head. And when she found him deceased, she wrapped the 9-year-old in a blanket and placed him in a freezer. 9 months later, she accused Stoney of the same crime, abusing the 6-year-old, and she began to torture the teen. She would only feed Stoney once a day, a bowl of oatmeal. She burnt the young girl with an iron. And one day Stoney told Blair that she didn't like her siblings, and it enraged the mother. And she strangled Stoney with a black t-shirt and suffocated her daughter with trash bags. Blair would then have her 15-year-old to place Stoney in the freezer on top of her brother. Stephen is believed to have died on August 12, 2012, and Stoney, May 25, 2013. To cover her from being caught, she would homeschool the remaining children and withdraw the deceased from school as well. The 2 surviving children had scars that suggested the abuse transferred from the 2 she accused of sexual abuse to the oldest daughter and the son she claimed she was protecting. Her kids' murder would go undiscovered for 2 years, and as soon as it was discovered, courts terminated the father's parental rights. There were 2 fathers. Each had 1 living child and 1 deceased child with Michelle, and both would offer explanations as to why they weren't there. But the mom expressed a deep anger for them as well. She faulted them for not being there, not helping, and accused almost everyone involved as being liars, even her kids. She was the only one being completely honest about all she knew. Blair would plead guilty to murder, and after declaring she would do it again, she was sentenced to life in prison. Then there's Crystal Candela. Crystal's case is a bit different, but it's definitely one of them times you like, what the hell was you thinking? Okay, you wasn't. You see, Crystal had a 16-month-old and thought she was well overdue for a vacation. If you've had kids or raised kids, then you know her feelings are validated. So Crystal's friends decided to plan a trip, but not without Crystal. June 6, 2023 came, and the young mother's bags were packed and ready to go. Her trip was a success. They enjoyed themselves, and it was time to return back to everyday life after having 10 days away. The mom would visit Detroit and Puerto Rico, posting pictures on social media, enjoying the beach and other places. Candelero couldn't be happier. On June 16, 2023, Crystal returned home at about 8 a.m. Shortly after getting home, Crystal would call the police, hysterical. Something was wrong with the 16-month-old. Crystal would clean baby Jalen and have her ready for the arrival of the paramedics. But she couldn't possibly cover the truth with a clean diaper and onesie. Crystal filled a couple of baby bottles on June 6th and placed them in a playpen alongside her 16-month-old daughter and went on vacation. While Crystal was out partying, Jalen was home, dying from starvation and dehydration, per torture. After police investigated, they found this wasn't the first time she left the child home alone. And one time she even asked the neighbor to keep the girl for 2 days. She stopped answering the phone and disappeared for a month. So no, not her first time leaving Jalen, but it was surely her last.